Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Wednesday, February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. We do create multiple hypotheses. We do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we create plans or hypos based on what the normal auction would look like, depending on who is in control, the OTF, the short time frame traders, the buyers and the sellers. We have two main hypotheses, and then we have two alternative, which is our expansion hypos. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to live trading analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So take a look at yesterday. Yesterday we were using that 43.50, the micro composite VPOC, the shorter time frame micro composite VPOC, as our over and underline. We were looking for a rotational day. Hypo 1 was an open auction in range, in value, a move up towards the naked VPOC from the prior day, then finding responsive sellers and rotating us down towards that target at 34.25 and the trade level at the 30.50, and then finding a base and working our way back out, back up. Hypo 2 was an open auction, a move down into the 34 to 30 area, find buyers and rotate us up through into the naked VPOC and trading up through value and testing the higher end of value. Hypo 2 is actually what we got. We ended up with a double distribution. Our over underline was excellent. We bounced off that so many times, gave us multiple longs to the upside, creating a double distribution with a large LVN in between. Pretty good trading day yesterday. In the Globex, we had continued with the shift up in the VPOC to the upper distribution. We are looking for continuation in the Globex towards the year open. Remember that the year open, the full session year open, is 26.75.75, and we had that target at 77.50. We did continue up. The VPOC shifted up, and then the CPI news came out and gave us a 48.75 point rotation. And right now we're creating balance back around that 34 area again. So big move down, big change of context based on the news. So let's take a look at the news now. You can see that the core retail sales was a miss. CPI came out at 0.3 versus 0.2. And retail earnings came out negative. Same thing with retail sales, and the market did not like that, or the algos, I should say, because the market is so thin right now. In terms of additional news today, we've got business inventories at 10 o'clock, crude oil inventories at 10:30, including gasoline, etc. And then 11 o'clock, we've got Cleveland CPI. And that's it for the news today. So not a lot of news now that we've had this news. Taking a look at the macro, I always like to start my day taking a look at a simple candlestick chart. I use two moving averages on my charts. I use a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA. Sorry, I just forgot to get this chart ready. And what I'm doing is I'm starting with a larger time frame and looking to see where we are in the trend in terms of that particular time frame. Do we have good slope and separation to the upside or downside? In other words, strength of trend, or are we challenging the trend by moving down to the 9 EMA, or are we violating the trend and possibly starting a new trend down on the below the 20 SMA? You can see that on the monthly we've had 14 months of one time framing up. This month we broke that one time framing, came down and tested the 9 EMA and bounced. The trend is still intact on the monthly. We simply come back and close what we had created, which was a technical gap. Going to the weekly changes the context slightly. We have broken below the 9 and the 20. We have not had a crossover yet of the 9 of the 20, but we are seeing a challenge and a violation of the upward trend on the weekly. When we move down to the daily, you can see that we do see the possibility of a start of a downward trend. We are holding below the 9 and the 20, and we have slope and separation to the downside. Going to the 4 hour, you can see that we're in this consolidation. They're fighting, back and forth. That's why we've had the volatility, and they're trying to determine whether or not we hold in this level and start the move back up on the larger time frame. But right now we are in consolidation. We are testing the 9 and the 20, the below that, and we could see some further weakness based on this news, but we've come back up quite a bit since that initial drop on the news. And then just going to the 30-minute, you can see same thing. We've basically been in this consolidation, but we've just now broken down below, and we're below the 9 and the 20. So we have possibility of a trend change on the smaller time frame. Taking a look at the structure of the market, we've been watching this larger time frame micro composite. That's this black one right here. The VPOC, the microcomposite VPOC for that is all the way down at the 2581. So if we do start to get a trend down, we will be looking for a push down into that 2581. The smaller time frame microcomposite, though, is that 4350, and we're currently coming back up into balance again. So this might just be a knee-jerk reaction and a push down, and we'll be watching that 4350. That again is going to be based on where we're trading right now, is going to be our over under line. Our key line in the sand is going to drop down. It's going to drop to the low of the night, but I'm going to be watching the 1375. It gets pretty thin down here. We did come back down and re-auction down here, but we didn't spend a lot of time and determine fair value in this area. And again, in this area between the 34 area, 33 area, and the 45 area, it's still maturing itself. Although we do have, starting to get a little bit of price acceptance in this area around that 4350, but it's still pretty blunt. And so the two areas I'm watching up here is the 4350, and then the last 2 days, the microcomposite for the 2 days is up here in that 62 area, which is one of our targets that we've been looking at above, just below the year open at 75. So in terms of the overnight, our overnight was pretty neutral until we actually, had the news, and now it's become negative. So we do have a possibility of a move, of responsive buying up, and I'd be targeting that 47, 48 area, and then it gets pretty thin. Yesterday was a double distribution with a pretty large LVN. The LVN ranged from 56 and a quarter down to 43. So we'll watch how they react to that 48 area, and if they can get above that, then we're going to be targeting that 53 and move through the 53 and a test up into that double distribution. So starting to move our numbers over, our overnight low is down at 27. Our overnight high is all the way up at 77.50. We have an LVN that was just created, and our microcomposite VPOC at 43.50. That's going to be our over underline. And then above that, we're going to be targeting that 45, where the VPOC sat most of yesterday, 45 and a quarter, and then the 48. I'm going to use 48 and a quarter, and then we're going to have a trade level at the mid and the VWAP and the IB high that is the beginning of this LVN. And if we get above that, then I'd be looking for them to move pretty quickly through that LVN or get stuck there. But I'm going to be looking for a trip up into the 56 and a quarter, and then anything above that up into that naked close and naked VPOC up in the 62 area, 67.50 value area high, and then a move up into the year open and the overnight high. Then below, obviously, the 34, targeting the 30.50 as we were yesterday, and then the overnight low at 27. Our key line in the sand, I'm going to shift down from the 18 down to the 13.75. And I'm going to use the 20 and 18 area, 20 to 18 area as a trade area to either add into a short or look for a bounce down there. So in terms of my hypos, we did just get a contextual change with a very large move of almost a 49 point move. So I'm looking for an open auction in range. I'm looking for responsive buying up into that 48 to 53 area. Then I'll be looking to see if we get sellers stepping in and rotating us down towards that 34 and 30 and taking out the overnight low and pushing down to close the gap down here. That's going to be my hypo 1, and I would expect some basing to happen here and start working our way up and probably close somewhere in around that 30 to 34 area. That is hypo 1. Equally weighted hypo 2, depending on who takes control, is an open auction in range, in balance, a push down, failure to break below the 34, leaving the overnight low alone, and then rotating us up into the 53, pushing through the LVN and coming up and targeting this 62, and basically going sideways there as we create a base for that move back up to test the 27.75 and the overnight high and back towards the 2700. Hypo 3, based on the fact that we're longer time frame, still in an upward trend, will be a open test drive. Failure to break below the range low from yesterday. A quick push up into the 56 to 58 area, push through to the 62 and get continuation and move up into and above the year open and that overnight high. Right now, the full session ATR is running at 55.53, so off of the low overnight of 27, our upside ATR target is up at 82.50. So we still have room to make a move up into the 82.50, and off of the high overnight of 77.50 minus the 55.53, our downside ATR is down at 21.75. So we still have room without expanding the current range, average to range, to get back down to close this gap down there. So Hypo 4 is an open auction in range, failure to get through and above to the upper distribution, rotate down through to that 30 area, fail, and come down and break below the 13 area and push us down to testing the 260450. And those are my 4 hypotheses. Again, we just had a very big contextual change based on the news, but I do expect them to continue to rotate back up, to test the upper side of this distribution, coming into the open. So that's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.